Welcome to Castle Rock Fort Creek. This episode of Agent of the Wild is brought to you by Medicine Flower. Medicine Flower manufactures products that support body, mind, and spirit, while being mindful of the environment. Pure therapeutic essential oils, flavor extracts, and CBDs are formulated to create powerful remedies and mood-enhancing blends that can improve the quality of daily life. Visit www.genuineessentialoils.com. Agent of the Wild here. I'm at Old Soul Pizza, a wonderful place here in downtown Roseburg, owned by a friend of mine who actually used to be a graphic designer. I used to work with him, and he's taken his talents and he's put them towards food. And let me tell you, this guy can make some food. He's got a wood fire oven. I'm going to show you guys that, and we're going to show you some of the great food that he's able to make. And we're going to sit down and have an interview with Jeff Dose, a fish biologist of 25 years that used to work for the Umpqua National Forest. So he's got lots of experience of this area and lots of experience dealing with the water quality and the overall health of the river systems here in Oregon, in Douglas County. And I just wanted to have everyone check him out, listen to what he has to say, because this man knows a lot. And we're going to eat some good food, and I'm going to show you some good food. So this is Jeff Dose, fish biologist. Actually, let's just let you tell everyone what you did.
Okay, I'm now retired, but I had a 35-year career as a professional fishery biologist, nearly all of it in Oregon. I'm an Oregonian, grew up in Coos Bay, Eugene. School at Oregon State in fishery science. I retired in 2011, but I was the fisheries program manager for the Umpqua National Forest for 24 years before I retired.
Just a couple.
Just a couple. Got to know the place.
Yeah, well, I recently got to spend some time up Castle Rock Fort Creek. I spent 3 nights up there, a total of 4 days, checking out the area, going to different places, and let me tell you, you want to talk about pristine and beautiful and full of life. What a place to be. I mean, people have no idea what we have right in our backyard.
I agree with you. The South Umpqua is kind of a forgotten place, and particularly the upper South Umpqua, because there's really only one road in.
Yeah, and a long one.
And the North Umpqua gets lots of acclaim. It's of international acclaim, and with good reason. Fraternity of fly fishers really love the North Umpqua. South Umpqua, like I say, is much less known about, and I think that has been, to some degree, part of its demise.
I could see that. Well, I recently found out that only 30 spring Chinook went back up the South Umpqua this year, and I saw over 30 spring Chinook jump at Deadline Falls on the North Umpqua. So that says a lot right there, and I was only there an hour.
Right. Yeah. A little basic history of the fish populations of the South Umpqua. Historically, the South Umpqua was a very high producer of salmon and anatomous or sea-run trouts, steelhead primarily, and also sea-run cutthroat. There were 6 different populations present in the South Umpqua, say, circa 1900. And they were quite abundant. The most abundant was, more than likely, coho salmon, which is now federally listed as a threatened species.
That's too bad.
In 1937, the U.S. Bureau of Fisheries studied the upper South Umpqua and found abundant steelhead jumping at South Umpqua Falls on the 4th of July. Those were summer steelhead. They're extinct. They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone. The spring chinook, as you mentioned, in the upper South, that population is genetically distinct from any other spring chinook population, and they are on the edge of extinction. Another one is sea-run cutthroat trout, which is not a real sexy species, but it's one that is really a good indicator, a good canary, if you will, of what's going on in watersheds and watershed health, aquatic system health.
So what do you...
And they're almost extinct.
Right. Well, I was up there for a few days, and I got lucky. I did get to see one of those springers up there, those Chinook.
Yeah.
I seen a pair, and they were right underneath the bridge, and oh man, it just blew me away, because I was looking down in the water, and I saw a couple of trout. I was like, oh, that looks like a pretty nice trout, probably cutthroat or rainbow. And I looked down there and I went, whoa, that's not a trout. I mean, we're talking a fish like this big, probably between 10 and 16 pounds would be my guess.
And so that brings us to the upper South Umpqua, which is the last best of what's left in the South Umpqua.
Well, I can verify that, because I got to stay there. And what a beautiful place. Some of the most crystal clear waters and cold water. I jumped in the water thinking, oh, I'm just going to get this footage. I'm going to jump in there and swim. I swam about, 8 feet. It took my breath away because it was so cold.
That's the reason that biologists have noted that the spring chinook, which, like I say, are on the edge of extinction, have been moving further and further up the system. I used to say Elk Creek Tiller area was the line of death. I think it's now up around Campbell Falls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the water quality is getting bad.
Quickly.
Yes, further up the system, and part of it's climate change. There's no significant amount of out of water use up there, but the water temperatures are becoming quite extreme, and that just pushes what's left further and further up into the upper part of the South Umpqua, and Castle Rock Fork is the key to the key.
Okay.
It provides the vast majority of the flow, that and Black Rock Fork, where they come together at Camp Comfort, is the start of the upper South Umpqua, or the South Umpqua River. And Castle Rock Fork headwaters and its main tributary, Fish Lake Creek, are in wilderness, Umpqua Divide wilderness, and as such, they are wonderful producers of high quality water, even during the summer, and they need to be protected. And to be honest with you, under the Forest Service current management paradigm, they are protected. They are a key watershed.
That's good.
And there's been a lot of effort at restoration over the years. I did lots of different ones. The biologists down at the Tiller Ranger District have done a lot as well to try to improve the over-summering condition of the adult spring chinook. They spend all summer. They come up in the spring. They spend all summer just swimming around in a circle in deep, cold water, as deep as they can find, as cold as they can find.
The hole I did see them in was super deep.
Yeah, and they don't eat. They are living off their stored reserves for months before they spawn, and they're maturing their sex products as well. And then they spawn and die, and that becomes marine-derived nutrients. In other words, they're fertilizing the stream,
right?
And actually the upslope as well. Things like bears, they grab carcasses and take them up.
I can verify bears. I went on the trailhead twice. Both times, ran into a bear within 20 yards.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Actually saw the bear.
Actually saw the bear right on the trail.
Not prints, not
scat. No, not a scarred up tree. No, I walked around the corner, and as soon as I went around this tree, 15 yards from me, there he was.
Wow.
Or she was. I'm not sure.
Wow.
And you know what? Not black. Brown as brown can be. And probably upwards of 275, 300 pounds, big bear.
Big
and
bear.
My dad, he was behind me, and I went, "Oh, bear!" And he's like, "Get your camera," and I'm like, "It's 15 yards from me. The camera is not on my mind right now, Dad." Good, animals, I appreciate them, I love them, but when you're that close to a wild animal, it gets your heart rate up and you get a little bit nervous. But the bear was more scared of me than I was of him.
Yeah.
It looked me up and down, checked me out, and then gone. Took off like a rocket. I couldn't get my camera out fast enough to get it, and it ran across a rock bluff like something that would have taken me 10 minutes to just kind of crawl across, and it just went across it like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And Castle Rock Fort Creek is a beautiful place, and I didn't realize the vistas and the buttes that are all in that drainage. And my dad and I looked on it on our GPS when we went on a hike. As we were hiking the trail, we could hear the water. I could hear cascades or waterfalls down there, and we're like, maybe we should go down there. Well, boy, did we get ourselves in a hike. In 400 yards lengthwise, we dropped 1,200 feet. Steep. I mean, it was an endeavor to come out of there, but you know what? I got one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever taken in my life down there. I got down there with an underwater camera, leaned out on this rock, and ran my underwater camera under there, just right under the edge of the water. I saw one fish above the water, but I was looking down. I was like, "Oh, there's a fish there. I'm going to get him on video." There were 7 fish under there. There were a bunch more that I couldn't see, and that water just crystal clear, has this blue hue. Oh man, just amazing.
Yeah, the Castle Rock itself is not known to be a huge producer. The spring Chinook spawn in lower end.
I've seen them reach insane heights, but I actually have video of the salmon we were talking about clearing Deadline Falls.
Oh yeah, no problem.
And I mean, some serious air.
The present management paradigm, the aquatic conservation strategy of the Northwest Forest Plan, is very protective.
That's good.
And there's a focus on restoration as well. And the folks down there have been doing as much as humanly possible, given staffing and budgets, and all the limitations that agencies have.
Well, that's great, but we also have climate change coming that we can't really do a whole lot about. There's not a whole lot we can do to change what's coming.
That's true, and I think that places like Castle Rock Fork and Fish Lake Creek are the last best chance. But if we're going to have anything up there, we got to have those places, and they've got to be functioning well.
Jeff's right. We do have to protect those special areas because there isn't much left. I know, I've been out in the woods a lot, and I really did enjoy spending that little bit of time up there. What a beautiful place. I saw trees that seemed to touch the sky, beautiful blue sky. And then over the night, stars everywhere. There was no light source blocking the view, so I actually saw the Milky Way while I was there. And I just saw life thriving where I haven't seen that before, because it's been so long since I've been to a place that hasn't been touched by humanity like that. And I think we need more of them. And that's why I support the Crater Lake Wilderness proposal, because the Crater Lake Wilderness proposal wants to protect multiple places like Castle Rock Fort Creek. Castle Rock Fort Creek is one of many on the list to be protected under the Crater Lake Wilderness proposal. And we need to think about things in the future, and protecting them is probably going to be in our best interests, because we went from having thousands of fish on the South Umpqua to 30 this year. 30 fish in a river system that used to support thousands. Something's wrong, and we need to think about our ecosystems and think about our lives and how they impact the world around us, because we only have one world and we need to protect what we have and make sure it's sustainable for us to stay here. We have a scary future in front of us with climate change coming. We need to try and protect things, and we need to do our best to be our best to protect the things around us. I just want to thank Jeff once again for such a wonderful interview and teaching me so much about river systems and about the Umpqua National Forest, because gosh, that place is just absolutely awesome. I could stay up there half a year and be a very, very happy man. And I also want to thank Ray from Old Soul Pizza for picking up the bill, letting me have the interview there, supporting this channel. And it's just such a great thing to be around people who think like you do and who want to do something about the world around them any way they can. And I hope I can find more people that are interested in that same exact thing. You know what? In closing, I have to say, wow, Castle Rock, Fort Creek. Go there if you can. Protect things like it if you can. Just appreciate the natural world around you because it's awesome.